Hello and welcome back, guys. This is Darshan here, back with yet another video. And today I'm going to be talking about a few reasons why students usually fail their CIMA case study exams. So you may have come across, or you yourself may have, taken multiple attempts to clear an exam, or you are currently even struggling and wondering, why did I not clear this exam? What were a few reasons, where I could have improved, or what could I have done better, or what was the cause of me not clearing my exam even after I think I did all of my preparation very well. So let us move on and see what are a few reasons which we at Fin Tutors, with all of our experience and the tutors and guides at CIMA, have also highlighted as to why do usually students fail in their case study examinations. So the first one being they failed to answer what was asked. So what usually happens in exam scenarios is that students are in a panic situation. They sometimes fail to read the questions very well, or even if they read the question very well, because they probably don't know a specific topic asked, they will not answer what was exactly asked in the question. So let's say the question is asking you to specify what does this IFRS mean, how will the measurement happen, how will the recognition happen, how will the entry be shown in your balance sheet, where exactly will it be appearing. But you did not answer any of those because you did not know the topic well enough. You were probably beating around the bush and not addressing the specific ask in the exam. Let's say you were asked to describe the risk attitudes of the different types of investors, or at the company, the people involved in the management. But instead of answering what were the different risk types, you mention this particular director has a risky attitude, or he's not risky attitude, or you describe more about their nature. It will not be useful. You have to know that you have to answer what was asked, and thus it's very important that you don't beat around the bush and address the specifics whatever are requested by you in the examination. The next very common topic which we see of the reason why people fail examinations is gaps in their technical knowledge. I cannot stress enough to you that even though rote learning is not important and will not be helpful to just make you pass the exam, but this is the basis of your examination. If you yourself don't know the basics, if you are not aware what are the IFRS, what are the different standards, how are different calculations made, how can you expect to attempt the exam at all? Thus, it's very important, and we have seen time and again that students who don't even know their basic technical knowledge, and or either have not revised concepts, or have skipped concepts, usually perform poorly in examinations. Because let's say in an exam scenario you were asked the question about IFRS 15 revenue recognition, what would you say? If you don't know what are the few criteria which need to be met, or let's say another example could be with respect to your TARA framework. If you don't know what are the different components of the framework, how will you answer the question at all? So it's extremely important that you revise all your concepts well, and there is no gaps in your technical knowledge at all. Apart from this, you also need to give good justifications of your answer. If I ask you what is your TARA framework, you cannot just say you can transfer risk, mitigate risk. No, you have to go a step beyond and focus on the whys. If you don't explain your answer or your recommendation or your suggestions or your impact of the same, it will not be helpful in an exam kind of scenario. You always have to explain the whys, you always have to explain the thinking behind it, the impact of the same. So without doing this and just rotely blindly writing down everything that you have studied in your text will not be enough. You need to give detailed discussions of your suggestions, of your different recommendations. So it's very important that you give proper justifications for your exams, and not doing the same usually is a cause of you failing your examination. The next topic which we have seen here is that, so we already covered you not knowing your concepts well, you not giving proper justifications, but it's also very important that all of your answers are in sync with the scenario, are in context of the scenario. So let's say in any of your pre-scenes you were given a company, but in your answer, if you're not considering the pre-scene, if you're not considering the external environment in which the company operates, it will be a useless answer. Because remember, as CIMA professionals, you will in real life be guiding various companies. Thus, it's important that you, as per your role and as per your position in the organization, guide the company with respect to the context which is already set for you. You already know a few things about your company as to what is the financial position of the company, what is the style of the directors available, what are a few problems that are maybe arising, what are a few opportunities, what are a few threats existing in the market. So with knowing all of this information, then you're supposed to give your recommendations, suggestions, or do any analysis if you're asked to do. Thus it's extremely important once again that you answer the questions with context to the scenario, and not doing so can lead to you failing your examinations. So note that in CIMA the quality of your answers is extremely important. So all the points that we discussed here, especially with respect to first not answering what exactly was asked for, there may be a lot of gaps in your knowledge, then you may be give poor justifications and not explaining your answer, and finally they may not be in context to the scenario. So these are a few reasons as to usually why students fail their case study exams. But don't worry, we've got you covered with a few tips which can now be helpful when you go on to attempt your further examinations. So let us look at a few tips which can help you improve your chances, improve the probability of you passing your examination. So the first one being, be relevant to the requirement which they have been asked. So let's say in the particular question they asked you to highlight the advantages of using a particular model, or highlight the advantages of using a digital costing mechanism, or the advantages of using a activity based costing budget. So if they have asked you for the advantages, mention the advantages. Don't beat around the bush as to, okay, these are the disadvantages, this is a few advantages of traditional costing method. No, if they have asked you for the advantages, talk to them about the advantages. Make sure that the advantages part is there in your answer. Next, if they ask you to give an advice as to do a comparison for us, to do a comparison, ensure that the examination verbs which have been used or what specification has been asked is answered properly and it is relevant to whatever the requirement has been mentioned in the question. Pay more focus on the verbs which have been used from the examiner's point of view. The next important tip being, plan your answers well. It may very often happen that even though you have very good technical knowledge, but you may not be able to present your answer well because you have not given sufficient time in planning your answer. All your points may be there in your head, but it's important that you note them down and you decide the structure of your answer in such a logical manner that you address the requirements point by point. So thus it's very important that you make an answer plan as to how am I going to address this, what will be the first paragraph, what will be the second paragraph, will I be giving a conclusion remarks if any. Thus it's very important to plan your answer so that it can serve as a proper linkage between your answer and also the requirement, and the examiner gets a clear flow in a logical manner of the entire answer which you have presented, and is not confused after reading your answer. The next important point which can make a difference in your exam passing is being structured in your presentation. It's very important to use different paragraphs when you're highlighting different points. If you write your entire answer in a single paragraph, it's very difficult for the examiner to understand. Note that in your CIMA you are given 2 marks for a clearly presented point. Thus it's important that every new line of discussion, every new thought is explained in different paragraphs or different points. So use these methodologies of presentation to improving your answer. Thus it's very important once again to have clear presentation in your answer, because if you give a answer in a haywire manner, the examiner has to check multiple questions each day, and sometimes it can get really tiring. So your job while presenting the answer needs to be that it's presented in such simple clean manner that it's very clearly easy for him to understand. You use proper headings, you use proper subheadings, and similarly you discuss relevant points in the presentation aspect as well. The next important and the last point which usually makes a very big difference is that you have to use your time wisely. I've heard from a lot of students that they often do not attempt the paper entirely. They will attempt only an 80 mark paper or only 70 mark paper. Note that you will not easily pass an exam if you leave a lot of questions. It's important that you attempt every single question. Thus, it's important that you use your time wisely. It is often noted that what students do is that on a few or certain questions which they are very confident or very sure of, they will usually go on overwriting their answers there. But it is not important. If you plan out your entire time, you can chalk it down as to how much time am I supposed to spend per answer. That's it. You do not spend even a second extra on your other question. So plan out how much time I have per question and write the answers as per that. Because if you overspend your time in one question, what will usually happen is that you will not be spending enough time for a different question which has a requirement for you to spend, let's say, 10 minutes, but because you've already exhausted 15 minutes for a 8 minute answer, you will not have time, which will lead to either you not attempting the question at all, or you will give a poor quality answer. And again, like I've been saying, it's important that you write all your marks. You cannot risk leaving out any other question. So I hope these few tips with respect to what are some common reasons why people fail in the examination, and a few tips which are helpful for you to pass your examinations were useful for you. And we will be bringing out more such videos for you in the future. So keep following us and see you in the next videos. Thank you.